What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Casually Fit podcast. My name is Rob. Thank you for stopping by today. It is the 25th episode, which is, I didn't know it was going, well, I knew I was going to keep on going, but 25 weeks goes by pretty quick. I hope you enjoy this episode. I got some things I wanted to talk to you about, some people to show you, to get you motivated. And also I got a couple things to cover as far as diet. Today for diet, I just wanted to kind of break down a little bit an unhealthy diet and then a healthy one, just to show you the calorie count real quick. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But right now, what I wanted to show you is we're going to start off the week with the Fit Fighter of the Week. Okay, again, this is somebody who, this person specifically seems like they just recently lost 150 pounds. I mean, that is a lot of weight, right? That's a huge accomplishment. 150 pounds. I mean, hats off to her. This is a woman. Her Instagram handle is Samwitch's Journey. So her name's Samantha, so has something to do with that. And that's her Instagram handle. It'll be linked down in the description box if you want to follow her. What she seemingly does is, just talk about her weight loss journey. She'll show you sample breakfasts that you can make, and also shows you her progress and gives you a little bit of information into her mind. Again, she's coming from, if you go to her Instagram right now, you'll see, just open it up in a different window, and you are going to see, if you just scroll down a little bit, you're going to see a difference, right? And so, these are people, if you're trying to lose weight, these are people that you should be kind of trying to seek out, trying to follow on Instagram. I mean, if you're going to, social media is social media, right? It's got its good, it's got its bad. Hey, I watch a lot of dumb videos sometimes, so it's, part of my social media ingestion is going to be garbage. But I counteract it with things like this. And I think that, maybe, if your social media has got a lot of garbage, maybe just start putting in a little bit, of something inspirational, right? Use it for good, all right? Instead of, using it for bad. And I know, it's got us hacked, and it's very easy to do this. But if you follow this lady, this lady's going to give you some good, motivation, inspiration, just some insight into what it's like to really lose 150 pounds. I mean, there's, the general public, I mean, there's a growing number of people that are kind of in that category. So you should, but the number of people who are able to lose 150 pounds, which is, again, a huge feat, that's a small category of people, or that's a small group of people, but it is growing, right? But it is still small. So you kind of got to find them. It's kind of hard to find them. So when you do, you kind of want to grab hold, find the Instagram handle, and, see what's going on, right? See if it can help you out. I think it can only help you out if you're trying to lose weight. And again, if you've never lost 150 pounds and you need to lose that much weight, or even 75 pounds or even 50 pounds, I mean, anything above like 10, 20 pounds, I mean, it's a good amount of weight to lose. So, and it's obviously the more weight's going to be more difficult, but, I think anybody who's trying to lose weight can benefit from this, because you've never lost that much weight. And, you have to deal with how difficult it is to switch to a new diet, how difficult it is to, start exercising and being in the gym, and maybe even dealing with gym people, right? Because gym people can many times be weird. The thing about a lot of people that go to the gym is a lot of them are free-spirited. These are like, a lot of free-spirited people. When you get a bunch of free-spirited people, you're going to have, free-spirited people. You're going to have some wild people. So, and it's just a different experience. And if you're not used to, being in, a weird environment like that, it can be intimidating, or whatever the case. But I don't know how I got on that. but either way, 25th episode, either way, go to which is journey, Samantha's journey. She's lost, again, 150 pounds. Looks like she used to track her points. So I think that's Weight Watchers' points, and now she's the calorie queen. So she's, focused on her calorie count, which transitions great. If you've been, just go listen. Don't listen to anyone before 25. Never mind. But this transitions well. It did until I messed it up. This transitions well into what I want to talk about today, what I wanted to show you. And I'm going to try to make this as not boring as possible, basically, right? But I'm going to be talking about, just going over some numbers. So again, if you are trying to lose weight, right, you have to make sure that you're in a caloric deficit. That's just no matter how much weight you want to lose, you have to make sure you're in a caloric deficit. If you're not in a caloric deficit, then you're just going to gain weight, or you're going to stay the same weight. Or maybe one day you lose a little bit of weight and then you gain back weight. I mean, you have to be in a caloric deficit no matter what. So your main goal, or one of your main goals, should be how to get in there, right? And on top of that, you got to start eating healthy. But eating healthy, focusing on eating healthy, can actually help you. Well, here, let me explain real quick. A caloric deficit, again, we have a certain amount of calories that we burn every single day, and you need to consume less than that amount of calories that you burn every single day. And within that group of calories that you burn every single day, it's your basal metabolic rate, and that's what your body is going to already burn at rest, right? That's just living. That's just digestion. That's just moving around. Doing nothing. Like, there's a sedentary amount of calories that you can burn every single day based off your weight and your height, and that's called a BMR calculator. I would suggest going online right now and finding your BMR calculator. If you don't have some sort of wearable technology, find that out, because you're going to need that number. And again, these aren't going to be extremely accurate, all right? But this is going to be a roundabout, just plus or minus a couple hundred calories, but go find that number, because that's the number that you just burn at rest. And again, you got to consume less than that number. So these are numbers that you need to focus on, that you need to identify. And it's a quick thing. Again, BMR calculator. Hopefully I'll remember. I'll put a link down in the description box for you for one as well. All right. So again, you're going to want to get underneath that BMR. Now, you want to consume less than that. I want to word this good for you guys. So what you're going to want to do is, first off, before I get into it, you can raise your BMR by adding in exercise. Okay, that's what you can do. But we're going to talk today as if you're not exercising. And for most people who are about 5'9" tall, and this differs for men and females, but for most people who are, let's say male, who's 5'9", about 203 pounds, you're going to be burning about 2,000 calories at rest, and that's if you do no exercise. So for a lot of people, that's like the average height and weight of people. So more than likely, if you're listening to this is going to be the reference point, and it might be kind of close to where you're at. So that's a number that you're just burning at rest. Again, if you add exercise, then you just add however many additional calories that you burn from, say, cycling, which you can cycle and burn like 500 calories or something like that. Then you add in weightlifting and all of that to raise that number. But the one thing that you need to do, the biggest thing, is your calories consumed. Okay, this is a huge, this is like the main focus. The calories consumed contains almost all your bad habits, right? Like the amount of calories that you burn at rest every single day, that contains a bad habit of not exercising, right? If it's a low number from not exercising. And that's a bad habit all on its own. But but your calories consumed contains all the different eating habits and it gets so convoluted and gets kind of complex with eating habits and how they're intertwined and how they, let's say you have a habit of every morning you go and get Starbucks, maybe every time you're walking to your office, you're like, oh yeah, I'll just go grab a donut at 7-Eleven. Or you have little rituals or traditions with eating, and these are just things that you've been doing for a long time, and you might have not ever looked at the food and the calories and the fat and the protein and the sugar that's in it. These are just habits. So this is something that spreads all over the place, right? It's almost like a galaxy, right? Pretty much of all these different points and connections that people have with food, because it tastes amazing, right? Food's great, okay? We love food, but obviously it can go bad when you're not in a caloric deficit. So, and when you're in that surplus for too long, and then also the type of food that you're eating, if it's unhealthy food, if it's things that are easily broken down into glucose, you're going to have, again, there's studies that are out right now that if you consume too much sugar, all these things, you're going to have an increased risk of diabetes, osteoporosis, cardiovascular disease. So there's that, right? But today, okay, so I'm going to show you right now is a difference between just a regular person's, unhealthy, just breakfast. That's really, I'm going to cover that. I'm going to go into detail with that. I'm going to show you the whole day between an unhealthy person and a healthy person, and I'll throw up, I'm going to make a graphic and you can see everything on the screen. But as you can see right now, so if you have an unhealthy person, typically what's going to happen, because this is the biggest thing, right? We have to show the difference between, what you have been eating, these habits, right? We need to shed light on these, and I'm going to try to show people who maybe don't know or don't notice, what a huge difference just changing up the amount or just changing up the type of food that you eat. And that's going to help bring your calorie count much lower. And I'm going to show you what kind of happens with this person who eats. This is a 5'9", 200-pound person who eats an unhealthy meal. Again, I'm going to try and not make this boring, but as you can see on the screen, you eat a bowl of cereal. It's about 2 cups of cereal. So usually, again, most people, this isn't too unhealthy, but it's just an example. Like, this is what I ate when I just really didn't pay attention to anything. I would eat like a bowl of cereal, usually like 2 or 3 bowls of cereal, but I'm just going to say 1 right now, okay, for this example. Just 1 bowl of cereal. Maybe some toast and jelly, right? 2 slices of toast and jelly, a muffin or something like that. Something with bread, maybe a little preservatives in there. And then, of course, the Starbucks venti vanilla latte. And the venti vanilla latte is actually, at least on one of the sources I looked at, the most popular drink from Starbucks. So again, most people can kind of identify, like, this is what we were kind of told to eat when at least I grew up, is eating a whole bunch of grains from cereal. Like, that's real grain. Okay, I'm not going to get into how unhealthy this food is, but I'm going to show you what comes out of this food. So the total of this unhealthy food, like if you just eat again, bowl of cereal with some milk, toast, jelly, and you just have a Starbucks cup, in the morning. And again, this is like a light breakfast, right? I know people that eat way more than this for breakfast, but this is just a light breakfast, right? What you're going to get, that total for just that breakfast, is 1,000 calories. Okay, so that's 1,000 calories that you're consuming just in breakfast. You still have 2 more meals and then snacks throughout the day. And again, if you're this 5'9" person that weighs 200 pounds, you're only burning 2,000 calories per day. And you just ate 1,000 calories, which means for lunch, dinner and any snacks you have, the total combined calories would have to be 1,000 calories just for you to not get into a caloric surplus. So that's a huge issue, right? This is where most people's, again, problems lie. Everybody's really going to just tell you when it comes to losing weight, it's the food, right? You got to switch up your food. And again, that involves a lot of different things. And it's one of the hardest things that people who love food can do is like switch it up and try to eat healthier. And I hope that me just showing you this, maybe that doesn't mean that you're going to switch over right away tomorrow, but hey, maybe at some point the seed just grows over time. And this is kind of what has helped me to stay eating healthy. And I'm not the podcast is called Casually Fit. Okay. So this should be, I'm not super strict person when it comes to eating healthy. But I notice when I go off track and I account for it, I combat it with exercise and with eating very healthy most of the time. But I hope that you see this, and I hope you don't freak out and go crazy about it, but I hope you just see this huge difference that in breakfast, you have already consumed half of your calories that you should need for that day. And so that just on losing weight, that's obviously a huge issue. So I'm going to get into what a healthy breakfast is here in a second to show you what you can eat instead. But definitely, if your breakfast is somewhat similar to this, try to switch it up. And I would suggest try the things that I'm about to say. But one other thing, other than the calories that you're consuming, right? These are also bad calories. These calories are not going to be good for you. These calories, these 1,000 calories, it's going to lead to more harm for you, right? Later on with obesity, diabetes, again, cardiovascular disease, some types of cancer. I mean, it's just a bummer, right? Just from the food, right? I mean, just think of it. I mean, we're complex human bodies, right? We have a biology just runs us. There's neurotransmitters firing or transmitting neurons and messages back and forth all over the place. And of course, it matters what we put inside of our body. And the food that, I for sure grew up on, we have the data now. It's just not good. And here's one reason why. Because out of that breakfast that I mentioned that you can see on the screen, that's 85 grams of sugar. I mean, I believe it's around like 25 to 30 grams of sugar that you're supposed to be consuming daily, and some people will say don't consume any sugar, right? But, about 25, 30 grams of sugar, and you're consuming nearly basically 3 times the amount of sugar that you should be having in one day, you're having at breakfast. And then you have 160 grams of carbs, right? And these aren't good carbs. These carbs are from cereal. And most cereal, like Lucky Charms, I think I use that as an example. I love Lucky Charms. It tastes amazing, right? They got Leprechaun on the top. He's always searching for his pot of gold. And the marshmallows, I mean, it's pretty good. But you get 160 grams of carbs, and these are not good carbs. These carbs actually change into glucose, and that's just another word for sugar, right? And what happens, when we have too much glucose going into our bodies, well, first off, when you get this sugar, boost, when you get this glucose boost, what's going to happen is it's first going to give you energy, right? So all those grams of sugar, all those carbs that change into sugar or that get broken down into their simplest form, which is glucose, when that enters your body, it's going to first give you some energy, right? So if you want energy in the morning, again, this is going to give you energy, right? So you kind of have to, pull these layers back. So you do get a good thing, kind of, you get energy, you crash later, but you get an energy from it. But that's where those grams of sugar and those carbs are going to go. It's going to give you energy. And then if it's filled up with energy, if it gave you all the energy, then it's going to store some of that, right? It's going to be like, hey, this is going to be a little reserve tank for you just in case you start running low. That's what it's going to do. And then once that's filled, then here's the problem. Then the problem lies with then it gets stored as fat. And there is infinite amount of room that it can store fat in. And the thing with, gaining weight is that this is a process that happens over and over again, and it happens slowly over time, right? I mean, just look at your skin and like the surface area of it. I mean, we have, there's so many places where fat can go, right? It's all over our body, right? Some people think that, fat just concentrates on one little area. I've never looked that up, but probably true. I don't know what maybe my hips, I don't know. But that's why this stuff is bad inside. Not only is it going to raise your calorie count for the day first thing in the morning, also bad, again, because of this. And this is how fat gets stored, and this is how you gain weight and how it gets out of control. Because again, this is just breakfast, and this is just like a regular American breakfast that a lot of people eat. And a lot of people would think, what, a bowl of cereal, some toast, and a coffee? I mean, it's going to give me 1,000 calories, over 1,000 calories, and basically over, 250 grams of sugar almost. I mean, it's crazy. So, but it's, I grew up in Wisconsin. This is normal. This is normal stuff. It's even normal stuff. I live in California. I'm not saying it's different, but it's pretty much normal across the board, except for little pockets of very healthy places. San Diego might be one of them. But then you also get 35 grams of protein. Again, this isn't good protein that you're getting, and you're getting 29 grams of fat. Again, this isn't the best, right? This is not grade A stuff that I'm going to be talking about right now. So clearly that's an issue. Now, if you eat healthy, right? If you just have some eggs and bacon, an avocado, just like a cup of blueberries, just a little bit of blueberries, and then a coffee with cream, you don't need one thing about, I won't say their name because I don't know how getting sued goes, but I would not want to be sued by one of the largest coffee companies in the world. All right. But it is messed up that, this place that, seemed to have risen, underneath the stars in Deerland, if you catch my drift. This place, if you just get a regular coffee, they already put 6 pumps of syrup in it. This is corn syrup. So you get 6 pumps of this syrup already. They're putting the sugar already into your coffee if you just order a regular coffee. I mean, iced. Regular coffee, you know what? I don't know if they do it for hot. They might do it for hot, but for sure iced. But they just do that. You have to ask for no syrup. Like my coffee I want a regular coffee, and forever, I never noticed that they were putting syrup in. I only noticed by just watching them make my cup of coffee, and they're just pouring 6 pumps of syrup in there. So I thought I was just getting like a black coffee with just a splash of milk. I thought that for the longest time. And so, this stuff is everywhere, and it's hard to, get away from. But again, back to if you're going to eat like a healthy person, eggs and bacon, pretty healthy, right? You get a lot of great nutrients in eggs, and you get good fat from bacon. Bacon tastes amazing, right? I mean, who doesn't? Very few people don't like bacon. Avocado, I get it. When you go straight from, cereal, toast, jelly, maybe you have Reese's Puffs or something like that. When you go from Reese's Puffs to avocado, I get it's not easy. It's difficult, right? So I know how this sounds to somebody who's usually not eating this food, but you got to see you got to give it a chance, all right? Because first of all, avocado is great for you, and it also tastes great. I think it tastes great. Maybe it's a little Mexican in me. I know I have to preface this because I know I look white, and I am, but I'm also part Mexican. But whenever I say Mexican or something like that, people just, with the bald head, just a weird vibe. People assume weird stuff. But yeah, avocado is great. Put some salt, pepper on it, and it's great. But I get it. You're coming from freaking Lucky Charms, Reese's Puffs, whatever else. What is the other? Life. I love Life. Life is great. Life is great. And then I'm telling you to eat some avocados. I get it. But try it out. All right, because you'll see the result at the end. And then some blueberries, get a little bit of boost, get a little bit of sugar. Again, you don't have to completely go away from sugar. It's a growing movement. Some people say stay away from sugar altogether, but this is more natural sugar. It isn't corn syrup or processed sugar. So there's a difference. Your body reacts in a different way. And then just coffee with cream, right? Black coffee with cream. This total, again, you're going to be, if you're eating just a regular breakfast, and again, that was a small breakfast, right? For a smaller breakfast, regular breakfast, you're going to get 1,000 calories. With this healthy breakfast, you're going to get half of that, less, more than half, 439 calories. And that's, eggs, bacon, avocado, blueberries. You're feeling good. You're feeling pretty full. That's 2 eggs and 2 slices of bacon. That's what I figured it out for. So that's a meal right there. All right. And this meal is going to be different. All right. Usually, again, when you're pumping yourself up with 85 grams of sugar and then 160 grams of bullshit carbs that are going to be broken down into basically sugar anyways, you're overloading your system, and you're going to go up, and then you're going to go down, and you're going to want to take a nap, and you're going to want to go to sleep. Okay, and that's what most people want to do, right? Everybody's, for most people who are eating the American diet throughout the workday, everything's great in the morning. You feel good. And then about 10, 11 o'clock or, an hour before you have to go to lunch, you're tired and you're ready to kill somebody. So you can go get some food because you're also starving. And because that's another thing, this food, again, these are garbage calories. So they're not really going to actually fill you, like they fill you up, but it doesn't give you the nutrients that your body needs. So your body's still going to crave food and it's still going to be hungry. So obviously a problem if you're trying to lose weight, right? And then a quick comparison again, you're going to go from 85 grams of sugar to 17 grams of sugar, switching to this breakfast. And then 100, instead of 160 grams of carbs, you're down to 30 carbs, right? Huge difference. And again, the quality is much different. And then 35 grams of garbage protein to 21 grams of actually good, healthy, nutrient-dense protein, right? And then 29, the fat stays the same. And there's a debate on fat. And it seems like, the things that we knew about fat before seems to be all wrong. Like a lot of things, like with grains. It seems to be that we're a little bit off the mark. And I haven't looked into it enough to speak on it right now. And I'll do something in the future about it. But that 29 grams of fat, that's actually good for you, right? That's the argument, is that it's good for you. And again, there's many reasons why it is. One of them is that your body, if you're not constantly feeding it glucose and feeding it the sugar, then your body is going to switch to running off of fat for energy. So that gives you a little bit of difference. There's not as much of a up and down. There's not as much as, there's like no crash. People who follow a diet like that usually report energy, all day energy, right? So that's kind of the difference of having a carb dense diet to a fat dense diet. And again, I'm trying to speak lightly on this because it's heated camps all over the place. One thing, with the fitness world and diets, some people just want to, do whatever they can to be right. So there's some camps out there. I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but that's what's going on. So again, so if you're burning 2,000 calories, I hope this is somewhat interesting. I'm just going to keep going with it. All right. I don't know. I'll watch this. Maybe I'll watch this one and try to fix it. But for now, this is what I got. All right. Hopefully the next one will be better. If you're bored of this, I know it can for sure be boring. Right. But again, if you're at that 2,000 mark where you're naturally burning 2,000 calories and you're not exercising or doing anything like that, you're not adding in ways to burn more calories. Again, what most people are doing, right? If you just switch up your breakfast, you will be, instead of being halfway towards your caloric intake limit, and that's the upper limit. That's just to stay the same weight. It's 2,000. You should really be shooting for, if you're burning 2,000 calories per day and you want to be in a caloric deficit, we're actually talking about you being somewhere in like around the 1,500, 1,800 range, right? So when you factor that in, again, unhealthy breakfast, you're at 1,000 calories. So if you're shooting for 1,500 calories that you need to eat, I mean, you're already 2/3 of the way there. I mean, you only have 500 calories and you got lunch, dinner, snacks, drinks, all that stuff still. So this is why it's such a huge thing. So if you switch over, then again, you're not as far along. You're only 1/3 of the way there instead of being 2/3 of the way there if it's 1,500 calories. So that's why just switching your food and dealing with the taste bud change, again, healthy food can be delicious, 100%. I think healthy food is, it can definitely be much more delicious than when you first start eating it, right? How delicious is it compared to, something that Cheesecake Factory has? I mean, that stuff's delicious too, okay? But I'm saying it's not going to be, it can get to a point to where it's not repulsive. I get a lot of people are repulsed by healthy food sometimes, and it's, they got avocado toast, you got some weird stuff out there. So I get it. I had this weird quinoa and beet and freaking, I think there's like tangerines and some weird shit today. But it tasted good, but it's so weird. It's kind of weird texture. And, at first it's kind of weird. And then just once you eat it for a little bit, it tastes good. Once you're over the shock, right? Again, I grew up just eating garbage, right? So I know the switch going from eating unhealthy, I never knew. I mean, just youth just drives you so much, but I never paid attention too much to how unhealthy I was eating because I just didn't care. I always ran, and my body just was able to keep on going off garbage. So again, just by youth. And once you get older, your body's just not able to do that. So where was I? So again, what I don't know where I was going with that, but again, that's just breakfast. So. And then just real quick, I just did lunch. I was actually going to do dinner too, but I stopped at lunch because, most people go and eat fast food. Fast food it's a regular thing. People eat it, especially for lunch. Not too many people bring stuff to eat. If you do, great. That should be, the goal, I guess, if you want to do that. But a lot of people go out to eat, and a lot of the food in many places is usually fast food. And again, it's just habits. And, I always pick this place because, I grew up on it, right? I like it, but it is absolutely horrible for you. And I'm not going to say the name because, again, your boy ain't trying to get no money taken from it, right? So this place, obviously, you'll know where it's got the best fries. I'll say it. It has the best French fries that you'll ever have. All right. And that could be to some people, that's blasphemy. So that's why I'm just going to leave it up there. But if you get their burger, just regular cheeseburger, large fry, and a Coke, if you just get that, the regular meal that most people get, again, this is kind of a small meal too. A lot of people get a couple cheeseburgers, a couple fries, maybe a flurry of something. People get more. So this is just cheeseburger, Coke, and a fries. You're going to get 1,100 calories, another 84 grams of sugar. You're going to be pushing another above 80 grams of sugar again for your second meal, and then about 175 carbs. And again, most of those carbs are just straight garbage, and they're just going to get switched over, and they're going to fill all your reserves, and it's going to get stored as fat, and it's just an issue, right? And then 22 grams of protein, 9 grams of fat. Again, this isn't, the fast food places, which it seems like they're switching over. It seems like they're slowly stopping the mechanics of the whole thing and being like, okay, let's be a little bit more responsible. Before it was just about how fast can we get food to people, and then it came about, all right, well, we have to have a bunch of food on hand. So then they had to figure out how to preserve the food, and then just start injecting it with things, and and then speed up the process of how even bread is made. Fermented? Does it get fermented? I can't remember. But yeah, so it's not good stuff, right? So you're going to have another 1,100 calories just off these two meals, just regular ass meals. You're going to have over 2,000, 2,200 calories that you've already consumed, and your number to lose weight is 1,500 to 1,800. And you're already at 2,200 with no snacks. I know people like snacks. I like snacks, right? With no snacks, only one coffee for that day, and just 2 meals, all right? And these 2 meals don't have the nutrients. So again, it's going to be a problem. It's a problem because it aids in you gaining weight, and then it's also a problem in the fact that it hurts you by not giving you enough nutrients and just putting in bad things into your body. And again, science is out. It's no bueno. And now if you eat healthy, let's say you go to Chick-fil-A and eat an 8 count of grilled nuggets and fries, because, hey, their fries are great, okay? I shouldn't have said their name. I'm going to talk good about them, so I'm not going to bleep this. I'm going to talk good about them, so I don't think they'll care. But yeah, if you just have nuggets, fries, and a water, and again, I know, switching from drinking a soda at lunch to drinking water, it's a big switch. It takes some time. I get it. But at some point, again, you see how serious it is, because you're with 8 nuggets, fries, and a water, you're at 550 calories, only 2 grams of sugar. 2 grams of sugar compared to the 84 grams of sugar. Plus 175 grams of carbs is going to get switched over to sugar, right? And then you're going to be eating 46 grams of carbs with the healthy Chick-fil-A versus the 175 from the other place I'm not going to mention their name, all right? And then 30 grams of good protein. Again, this is chicken, right? And they actually use, and I should mention, Chick-fil-A is like America's guilty pleasure, because some of the bad stuff they did in the past, which I don't support at all. And I get it if you don't support them, but they do have good chicken, because they are focused, even though they have fried food up, they want it to be as healthy as possible, right? Other than frying the shit out of it. But yeah, you're going to get 30 grams of protein with that, and then 27 grams of fat. It's going to be relatively good. And that's going to be the difference. So, you can really get about 500, if you eat 3 times a day, healthy, you can really get about 500 calories, consumed per meal, about that, right? And then that can put you at the 1,500 calories that you need if your BMR is 2,000 calories that you're already burning. And that's, again, if you're not exercising. So if you exercise, then your BMR, let's say you burn another 600 calories from exercising. Completely doable. for sure. So let's say that. Then you're at 2,600 calories and you're consuming 1,500 calories, right? So that's a huge difference. Then you're deep into a caloric deficit, which you shouldn't be as low as possible. You shouldn't starve yourself. You still need to get nutrients into your body. So I'm not suggesting that you get as low as possible, but you have so much more room to work with when you just change up your food and the type of food that you eat. I mean, you can just see the difference. By lunch, you're either going to be over your calorie count for that day, much over. You're going to be 600, 700 calories over by lunchtime, or you're going to be about 500 calories below your target amount of calories for to actually be in a good caloric deficit, about 500 calories. All right, you're going to be still 500 below that and 1,000 calories below your BMR. So that's huge. And when you add that exercising on top, that means, hey, maybe you can eat a little bit more. Maybe you can have some snacks, right? That's where, when you're living in that space to where, you don't just, just hit a huge meal and just stack on 1,000, 1,200 calories in one meal with a bunch of sugar and carbs. When you don't have that factor running in there throughout your day, I mean, that's where, over time, but at that day, you can be like, wow, this is, again, there's a lot of difficulties with this, but you have a bit of freedom still, right? You have a bit of freedom. You can eat a little bit more and you're not so stressed out about, being, playing with such a small margin, right? To make sure that you're in a caloric deficit. All right. You can make a couple mistakes because the thing is, we're all sticking to a diet I think it's good to stick to one diet for a certain amount of time and be very strict. If you've never done that, you should definitely try to do that. And at times you might just want to do it, right? Just to test your discipline. And it's a good thing to do. And it's a good skill to have to be able to do it. But for the long term, sticking to one specific diet and being at like a dinner party and you're already kind of in shape at this point. Just imagine yourself, you're already kind of in shape but you're still sticking to the same diet. And then you're at this dinner party and somebody just offers you something off of the tray and you go, oh no. I mean, how many times do you go to a dinner party, right? Just eat whatever's on the tray. Who cares about the calorie count? Because you know that you're living in a really good margin. And that's what this can do for you. And so again, I think it just makes life just a little bit more enjoyable for you while you're trying to lose weight. It's to try to get into that margin just by switching some things out. Again, you can try this if you want, but you kind of have to do this you don't really have to. I mean, I get it. It's a lot of work to do all these things. It's a lot of things that you got to realize about yourself to be able to make this switch and to be looking at these numbers and thinking about all the food that you've been eating and how many times you've been messing up with the food that you've been eating. And then now you're looking at the numbers of how bad it actually is, and you're hearing how bad it is. And you can start feeling, a little depressed from it, and you can want to push it away, and you just not want to mess with it or deal with it. I get that, right? So me telling you, hey, you need to break down what you have been eating and then look at healthy food and figure out what you should be eating. I get that there's going to be a certain amount of people that are not going to want to do that at all, right? And maybe you don't want to do it at all today, but I hope this planted somewhat of a seed. So maybe if you don't do it today, maybe, my annoying voice will come into your ear, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, and you'll be like, damn, Rob was right. Maybe I should check into this. And then you just identify the healthy food that you need to eat. You can just do it once, twice, You just go online. It's very easy. Go online, look for healthy food. Just type in healthy alternative breakfast foods, and you can just pinpoint what you want to eat. Set up a schedule that you're going to eat per day every single week, and then just eat those things every single day for 4 weeks, and then maybe look up different food 4 weeks after that, or or look up everything before you go to whatever restaurant you're going. But again, that's a lot to do. But if you really actually want to lose weight, whenever you truly commit to losing weight, you have to do it. All right. Or you can get a trainer. They'll do basically everything. Or you just buy a nutrition plan, and they should have everything there for you as well. So you can do it yourself, or you can buy that stuff. And I'm not sure if I have a nutrition plan online, but one will be coming up. All right. But yeah, I just wanted to show people that, and hopefully you took something from it. Hopefully this wasn't extremely boring. How long has it been? Long time. All right. Sorry if I talked your ear off, but that's the nutrition tip of the week. And real quick, I just wanted to I think the podcast gets a little bit better when I have more time to spend on it, which this week I had some time. Past couple episodes have just been, it's been rough. And the fitness tip, I'm not going to get into it this week just because I don't want to, run this episode too long for everybody. Because that's the main thing I wanted to let everybody know is that. And next week I'll have a in-depth fitness tip for everybody, and then everything else. And there's still one more segment that I want to put on here that's might happen, might not happen. But yeah, I wanted to do it. Just a fitness tip for you. It's not one thing, okay? Don't just do one thing. Don't just get talked into only doing weight training. Don't if a trainer's telling you, or somebody online is saying, hey, just lift weights, don't do that, okay? If you're trying to lose weight, diversify it. Your focus is burning calories. For one thing, a big focus for a lot of people is burning calories, especially if you're trying to kind of eat healthy and kind of not eat healthy. Then as you can see just from the previous breakdown, things can add up, right? So your main focus is for sure burning calories if that's you. If you're trying to be in a caloric deficit and lose weight and not be super committed to a diet program, you got to burn a bunch of calories. So for sure, if somebody's telling you, hey, just lift weights, guess what? You got to do some cardio. Yes, you're going to be burning some calories when you're lifting weights, but you need cardio as well, because that's going to take out a huge chunk in comparison to weightlifting. But again, you can't just do cardio. I mean, you can just do cardio, but you also want to strengthen your body. Okay? You want to also gain muscle, right? You don't have to be jacked. You don't have to be roided up, just bursting. You got a mountain range, for shoulders or whatever's going on. You don't need to do all that, but you need a little bit of muscle. I mean, look at our arms, our bodies. Our bodies are made of bones, muscle, tendons, ligaments. I mean, these things, they need to be resilient. They need to be strained. They need to be worked out. I mean, again, look at our bodies. We are like animals almost, I mean, so the fitness tip is to just not focus on one thing. Don't just go and be like, hey, I'm going to be a power lifter now. All right. Don't listen to people who are just like, I mean, if you really want to do it, okay, if you really want to do it and you want to compete in it, I don't care. All right. I really don't care. But if you're just like trying to lose weight and, the gym and working out is like the side thing, and you don't really get into it, you just know it has to be done, don't just focus on powerlifting. That's all I'm saying. Okay. When it's just like a flipping thing, don't just focus on one area. Use the gym, use a workout plan that can benefit your body all around, which is the name of this YouTube channel, or not this YouTube channel, but my YouTube channel, lift, run, stretch. So you need to lift weights, you need to run, do some sort of cardio. Okay, if you can't run, walk, build up to running, jump on the elliptical, do cardio, and then you need to stretch yourself out. All right. You need, and again, these are just basically facts about the body, right? Our bodies show that they need to be stretched out, they need to be worked out. Okay, yes, you can overstretch, but also not stretching can tighten you up, cause tension into your body, and can just lead to, I mean, that's one thing that, you look at all the older cats, my dad, or, I don't want to say my pops, but, you look at the older generations, a lot of them are very tense. There was no stretching anywhere near the older generations like repertoire at all. I mean, stretching from many males' perspectives for sure. It's not looked at as favorable for men if you want to be a man, right? Okay, that's clearly wrong. That was clearly false and wrong. And I think one thing that in that generation to me has always, certain types, not everybody, obviously, I'm generalizing, but I've come across a lot of very tense, like older cats. I'm like, wow, you guys are wound up, right? But they also can barely move because they don't stretch their body, they don't move their body, they don't do anything like that. So. And there's been studies done on it. That's just from my experience. There's been studies done on it. Our bodies need it, so you might as well start trying to do it. Okay, our bodies need to be strained. Our lungs need to be worked out. Okay, our system needs to be stressed, and it needs to be stressed through cardio exercises, right? Heavy breathing. So that's been proven that that's what our body needs. So you might as well start incorporating it right now. And our bodies need to go under strength strain, right? We need to be lifting, pushing, pulling some things. That seems to be for sure. Like if you don't lift, if you don't work out or do any of that, you're more prone to brittle bones. Like your bone density will actually go down. But if you keep on lifting, you keep on exercising, straining your body, strengthening your body with weights, then your bone density, actually it's much higher than people who don't work out, right? That, to me, that's clear. Like brittle bones, do you want to be old with brittle bones, right? Like a lot of people, our grandparents, older people, you want brittle bones, right? Or you want strong bones. When you're 70, 80, 90 years old, all of us are going to want strong bones. So you got to work out. So these three things, I suggest incorporating them as soon as possible. If you need to do one now and move along and just do one now and then add another and then another, whatever. But you need to have that plan in the future. Like, hey, at some point I will be operating in all three of these areas. So that's my fitness tip for you. Okay. And lastly, let's leave off with the Fit Freak of the Week. Again, this person is just somebody who's going at it, right? Somebody who's just pushing their body to the limits and just has good control of their body and has obviously put in work. And I show people fit freaks, people who are just out there, who just love the gym, jumping around, lifting weights, sprinting, taking steroids. No, I don't know. Most of them don't. I'd like to think a lot of people don't do it. It seems like there might be a bunch of people doing it, but it doesn't really matter. But people who really like to work out, on the juice or off the juice, I'm here to see what happens, right? And you can take some inspiration and some motivation. And it can just, raise your bar inside your mind of what the body is capable of. And that's why I want to show you the Fit Freak of the Week, which his name is Haynes. Doesn't say he won. Looks like he competed in the 2019-2020 CrossFit Games. So again, just happens to be a CrossFitter. Again, if you've been watching this podcast, I got a love-hate relationship. They do great. They're clearly strong. They're clearly healthy. And I think the ones that are doing great at it definitely seem to be, dodging injuries. So on some degree, it seems to be perfectly great for people. But another degree, people get messed up from CrossFit. So that's why it's a love-hate. But for sure, they are some of the most fit people around, because these people, like this man right here, Haynes, he's able to lift heavy weight. Like right now, he's deadlifting, probably somewhere around 500 pounds. If you go to his Instagram is Ant Haynes HK on Instagram. It'll be linked down in the description box for you. But yeah, so he's lifting heavy weight, right? So that's the one aspect of it. He's also swinging from these rings, which, that's body awareness right there. Oh, he's doing, what are those called again? Muscle ups. So see that swinging stuff? I'm not a fan of swinging that hard, but he's able to do that. He's able to snatch up this weight right here if you're on his Instagram. So he's strong, and he's on the assault bike, so he's working out his cardio, and that's why I think these people are, they're up there on the fitness spectrum. That's why typically when I look for people to show you, they end up being CrossFitters, because these are guys and girls who are doing the areas that I'm a fan of, which is, for sure lifting weight and for sure doing cardio. And then I don't know if these cats are stretching, but, again, this dude's pretty ripped, lifting weight. Looks like he's about to press up, 110-pound dumbbells, right? So by anybody's standards, that's above average in lifting weight. And I can almost guarantee you he can smoke anybody on the assault bike, which I've been doing the assault bike. It's a great way to do cardio. If you can, I always do the assault bike if I can't run for that day. But it's great. So go check him out, Fit Freak. I'm trying to find some other stuff, but just look at his page. He's ripped. He's, jacked up. He's competed in some games. He's a great follow, right? So again, if you want to raise up that mental bar, all right, if you got aspirations after you lose the weight, once you hit your goal of losing that 150 pounds, if you're like, I want to lose this weight, but I don't want to stop there. I want to start running. I want to start, competing in something, do a marathon. I want to do a marathon. I want to do a couple marathons, whatever it is. Hopefully this dude will show you that, the body can do a lot of different things. And that's this week's episode. All right, so that's what's up. That's the 25th episode of the Casually Fit podcast. It wasn't too casual today, I gotta say. I had some things I wanted to talk about. Again, I had the nutrition thing laid out. I'm not sure how that's gonna go with you, if you liked it because of that or what. So I'm gonna find out all of that, right? I didn't kick up my feet once, so kind of going against this Casually Fit thing today. But I hope you got some good information for that. Hopefully it sheds some light on some things for some of you as well. And again, this whole thing is a process. It takes a while. And you're going to have moments where you're going to be like, God damn it, I was doing that. I was eating that. And you're just going to be like, damn it, shouldn't have been doing that. Now I got to eat this, and you got to go through that process, right? You got to go through, maybe you don't, maybe it can be all rainbows and butterflies for you. That's fine. Happens to some people, but for a lot of people, you're going to feel, seeing a blind spot is, you're blind to it. So when it comes up, it surprises a lot of people. And, just not necessarily look forward to that, but just know that that's coming. And hopefully you keep on pushing through, right? Hopefully you're able to, get blindsided and keep going. It's a lot to ask, right? But it is what's necessary to keep going. So wish everybody luck. Thanks for watching or listening to the podcast. Adios.